Hi, everyone. I'm Kelly O'Horo, and this is Adaptable, Behavior Explained. Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in today. I'm really excited to have you here today, specifically because my dear friend and colleague is joining us to talk about a very important concept, meditation and mindfulness, but specifically MBSR, mindfulness-based stress reduction. And so I'm going to hear from her. We're going to talk about how this can change your life and some specific applications that you can use as a beginner or a way to improve your meditation practice, as she's going to discuss with us today. So thanks for tuning in. Without further ado, Julie, please go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. I have been a counselor for 25 years. I've been an EMDR therapist for 22 of those years. I'm a EMDR facilitator, so I teach basic. I'm an RTEP GTEP trainer. RTEP GTEP is for recent traumatic episodes. I'm also an MBSR teacher, which is one of the things I'm really proud of because meditation and mindfulness works really well on its own, and especially really well with EMDR in helping people be more in control of themselves and to be able to handle stress.
Wonderful. So you gave the audience a mouthful of acronyms and everything else. And I think it's important for us to dive in a little bit to the specifics of those things. Mm-hmm. So what that really means, everybody, is she's extensively qualified to be here and tell us a whole lot about her craft. And another important piece of this story is she's been my mentor since I started this profession. And I'm really grateful to have had you in my corner and to get to learn from you all these years and continue getting to learn from you and be in this journey together. So I'm ever so grateful to have someone like you in my life. But your expertise is just fabulous. And the training that you went through to become qualified to be an MBSR teacher is pretty extensive. So can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I want to make sure our viewers understand meditation is not just throwing on an app 3 minutes a day necessarily, although that's a great start.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot more that you were required to learn and a lot of hoops you had to jump through to really become an expert or a master at this topic. So can you tell us what that training was like?
Yeah, so the MBSR training does take a long time, and it's very interesting because I've been meditating for a long time, and I meditated before I took the MBSR class. So the MBSR class is an 8-week class that has a full day retreat. So I took this back in 2018. And when I started it was like, oh, this is it. This is perfect. This is what I want to do. I want to become a teacher, right? And then after I got out of that, it was like, wow, there's a lot that you have to do to be a teacher. And I was like, I was looking at my life at that point in time, and it wasn't the right fit. But I continued to meditate. And then things just fell into place, right, as they do. And so after that first 8-week course, you take a second 8-week course. And they also ask if you're going to do teacher training that you've done at least 2 5 to 7 day silent retreats.
When she told me silent retreat, I was like, the whole time? You don't talk at all?
Right.
By yourself, in your own mind, in the own spinning, like the chaos that exists in my mind, I couldn't have imagined at the time doing that to myself. And I think that you've been so inspirational to me because of your experience and your candor and sharing with me. So tell us what a silent retreat's like.
So a silent retreat is so amazing, at least for me, because what you do is you get there and you are actually silent for the whole 7 days. There might be a couple of times where you talk because you also work in service with the other people at retreat. So you help with like cleaning up the tables or anything like that. But it's always just very quiet, very need to know. And you also don't necessarily have a lot of eye contact, which was very interesting for me because as a counselor, there's a lot I see. So to have a break from that's kind of a requirement really helped me to regulate.
So very intentional communication, very intentional exchanges in that space that you were in.
Right.
Can you tell us a little bit about, for example, John Kabat Zinn's work with his influence and bringing MBSR and meditation to Western culture and what makes him different?
Okay. So John Kabat Zinn started what looks like MBSR now back in 1979, so about 44 years ago. And he started working with the University of Massachusetts Medical Center because he noticed that there was a lot of people with stress and pain and heart conditions that weren't getting better, right? That were still really suffering. So he started the MBSR course to help these people learn that they have much more control than they think, right? And so he developed this program. And since he developed it, it's been researched about how effective it is and how helpful it is for people. So there's research, there's lots of anecdotal information about it as well. And what it does is it helps people enhance their awareness moment to moment, right? Without judgment.
Right.
Because we all get into a very habitual patterns that aren't always healthy for us.
And we're not connected.
Right.
We're not connected to our bodies. And so many of us as humans are walking around as human doings, not human beings. And it wasn't what we were meant for. And I know that as a therapist with our EMDR therapy, so much of it has to do with dropping back into the present moment awareness and being in your body and recognizing when something happens that creates a reaction in you that you noticed your heart racing or your muscles tightening or the hands clenching or things that happen in our bodies that are autonomic and that we don't plan for. I love that meditation brings people back into that awareness of their bodies. And it's ever so needed, especially in this day and age with all of our distractions and the speed at which we're being required to move through the world. So
right.
I love that.
It takes us kind of out of that trance state.
Right.
And the thing that I think is a big misconception with meditation and mindfulness is that people say, well, I've tried it and I haven't been successful because I can't get my mind to calm.
What's success?
and of course you can't get your mind to calm because minds don't calm. I mean, that's not what minds do. That's not what meditation does, right? It's about that moment to moment awareness. And our thoughts are going to move us away all the time.
Right.
And the thing that happens in meditation is that you realize that your thoughts have moved away and you bring them back without judgment. Right? And it's that bringing them back without judgment again and again and again. No matter how long you've been meditating, you're always going to be bringing your thoughts back again and again and again. And that helps to grow gray matter in your brain. It helps to strengthen the vagus nerve.
Tell us about the vagus nerve.
So the vagus nerve is a nerve that runs from our brain all the way down our back. So it touches everything, right? And so they've done research on meditators that by paying attention to the breath, which is one of the many forms of meditation that you'll learn in an MBSR class, helps you to calm, right? And so there are ways just with paying attention to your breathing and specific ways of breathing that will engage your vagus nerve,
right,
which will calm down your whole nervous system.
It gives your body that cortisol and adrenal vacation.
Yeah.
In such an easy moment and a simple practice when there are not expectations about outcome. How many times have you heard a client go, I can't meditate, I'm not good at it?
Right. And
what is good at it?
Yeah.
Right?
What is good at it? And I think the good thing to know is that it's a practice, right? You're not going to sit down and meditate the first time and be like, oh, I've got this, right? We practice it, right? And, I've been practicing for a long time, and there are times I don't do it well, and there are times that I do it well.
When you say when I don't do it well or I do it well, differentiate for us. What does that mean to you?
So, and actually, as I say that, I think, well, that's probably not the right wording.
Fix it. Tell me.
Right. So the word, so So meditation is a practice, right? And in a perfect world, I would have all the time to meditate. And I don't. And that's okay.
Right.
Because the time I take to meditate is the best time, right? So I have a teacher who says, the only bad meditation is the one you don't do.
Right.
So it's just about feeling your importance and taking that time to
and feeling
calm
your
down.
Presence in the world.
Yeah.
And just your space that you hold and you can ground in.
Yeah.
How has formal meditation practice changed your life and probably your brain? We know research shows actually that there are 3 ways we can actually physically change the physiology of our brain. One is EMDR therapy, one is meditation, and one is yoga. So it's all about this mindful
mind-body connection.
Right. And it physically changes. If we saw SPECT scans before and after someone practiced those things, we would see significant clinical difference in those pictures. Mm-hmm. And so I always recommend that clients do meditation in conjunction with our EMDR therapy. But what I recognized was in my earlier career, some hypocrisy with that because I wasn't practicing what I was preaching.
Well, and you're a perfect example, if you don't mind me going this way, because
go for it.
You have one of the busiest brains of anyone I know. And I remember initially when I told you I was going to go on a silent retreat and you were like, no way. And then you finally decided to do it and you were lucky enough to do a retreat with John Kabat Zinn. So what was that like for you to learn to be with all of those thoughts? Right. And what I know is that you've also continued your meditation since then. Right. So tell me a little bit about that.
So it's funny. I really encourage people to lean into the discomfort. And I am an expert at being a human doing and busying myself so much that I can stay right out of my body for weeks at a time if I'm not careful. And it's had its purpose, but it costs me a lot to not be present and to have my brain be so fast. I have a pretty extreme case of ADHD and it's hot. My brain is hot. I have scans to prove it. And so when my husband and I were talking about the thing we were going to do that year for our own personal growth and our connection and everything else, we decided we were going to go to a meditation retreat. And John Kabat Zinn was still doing them. In fact, I think he still does, once in a while. And I thought I got to go there if we're going to do it. And just signing up made me cry because I thought, how am I going to be still in my own brain for 7 days? That there is no way I want to be that close to the busyness of my chaotic brain for that long. And so, of course, that's what tells me then this is exactly what you need to go do, because if you're that scared of something, you need to lean into it. So a little bit about that. So we go, it's beautiful. It was at the Rhinebeck in northern New York, or not quite upstate, but, north of Manhattan. And it was a beautiful setting. It was very simplistic, a place, but perfect because all of the outside world was away. Our phones were off and put away. And I remember I'm a very good student. I can follow the directions. And I thought, I'll fake it till I make it, but I'm going to just do everything they say. And it took until about the 3rd day. And we're meditating from 6:30 or 7 in the morning until 9 and 10 at night with just breaks to eat and walk around. And these meditations were both sitting and walking and lying and all kinds of different meditations. And I remember by the 3rd day, I was doing a walking meditation and something shifted in me that I had never felt before that was akin to euphoria. Mm-hmm. And I remember just this settling that I've never experienced in my own brain and body. And after, when we were at lunch, I told Pat, I was like, something happened to me today that I've never felt before. And I could cry. It was so welcome. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was so welcome because that day, I knew that I could be in my mind. And I liked what I saw.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I never slowed down enough, to know that.
Right.
And you can tell that this is an impactful experience if you choose to do it for yourself, because
and
it's just so powerful when you adopt it and you just surrender.
Right. And you don't even have to do a 5-day silent retreat.
no.
I mean, that's part of the training, but the MBSR class has a full day silent retreat, right? So it's like 8 hours where, I work with students, and that's always the day. People are like struggling or having trouble with it, or it's not making sense to them. And when they come back from the full day, they're just amazing. They're just like, oh, it all makes sense, because what happens is they're able to settle.
Right.
They're able to be friends with their minds. They're able to be friends with their body. They're able to understand that they have that space between reacting and responding, which is something that we talk about in EMDR and in yoga.
It's all about increasing that
MBSR.
space.
Right. It's increasing that space. And the space is nanoseconds, but to have the felt sense belief that you can get yourself there, it's so empowering. Yeah. It's so empowering.
It was like life-changing. And I knew that this was going to be the difference maker. I've done so much EMDR therapy over the years in my own work, and I just wanted to up the ante. And I wanted to do something that would require me better self-care that I could put in my calendar. And they talked about that at the retreat, like this will go away if you don't practice. You have to practice this. And whether it's 3 minutes or whether it's 30 minutes a day, you deserve to practice this quiet space in your own mind. And I can feel on the days that I don't, just slow down, even if for 10 minutes, which I tend to do between 10 and 30 minutes each morning before I touch my phone, before I do anything else, because I know that once I get moving, I'm off to the races, and it's a low likelihood that I'm going to slow back down enough to get into that space. So it's changed my life for sure. And I've even had feedback from colleagues and mentors that have said something's different about you. There's such a less of a frenetic energy about my need to move through the world that I am so grateful for.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, for those listeners who have concerns because they are religious and they do not want to do anything that could negatively impact their spirituality or their faith, tell me a little bit about someone who's a believer and might be a little bit reluctant or scared to become a meditator.
So what I want to say to those people of faith is that they, in some way, already are meditators, because they have that quiet time with their God, with whoever they are. And mindfulness-based stress reduction is not religious in any way. It's very secular. It's just about teaching us to connect with ourselves, right? To be able to understand what's happening in our body, to understand what's happening in our reactions, right? And there's no religious bent to it at all. And again, for
if anything, it's the proof of the biology of humanity.
Right.
It's so science-based.
Right.
And there's so much evidence about the physiology of our bodies when we slow down that is backed now in the medical community, thanks to John Kabat Zinn and his research and bringing it to what Eastern cultures knew forever. Finally, it becomes more commonplace and known and respected in Western cultures, because there's the science that talks about the body now.
Yeah, and MBSR is really science based, and it's based on research. It's not affiliated with any religious beliefs. So there's no uncomfortable connection with being able to be calm in yourself and be solid with your spirituality.
That congruence of closer to myself, actually, in most faiths, brings me closer to God.
Yes.
And so I think that there's a beautiful, a beautiful part of that connection to slow down and be more present in self.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, Julie, thank you so much for taking this time to discuss this really important, in my words, or in my experience, life-changing topic. I appreciate all that you have done to become another gifted teacher in the world for this concept and idea, bringing this to others. We offer, she offers mindfulness-based stress reduction courses. So you can see the link below. These are things that you can do with us here at Infinite, either in person or hybrid. So see the link below if you'd like to be in this most recent class or this next class. But hopefully you learned a little bit about the importance of meditation, about slowing down, about taking the time to get more present and grounded with self. It serves our mind, it serves our body, it'll improve relationships when we can slow down and be more present and connected. It improves our health. And so for all those reasons, I hope you challenge yourself to give it a try. And a little bit is better than none. And it's always about progress, not perfection. And it is a practice. So every day is going to look different in your meditation experience. So hopefully you give it a shot. If you'd like to learn more, you can visit us at our website, again, at the link below. And otherwise, thank you so much for being with us today. I hope that you lead with love. It'll never steer you wrong.